people come in and say, oh my gosh, it still looks like a Blockbuster. And I'm like, well, of course it does. We are Blockbuster.
Welcome to WatchMojo. And today we're discussing the rise and fall of Blockbuster.
Was it Netflix?
Netflix was really the nail in the coffin.
For sure, Netflix.
Netflix.
For this video, we're looking at the former video rental giant's highs and lows in its over 30 years as a company. Do you miss Blockbuster nights? Let us know in the comments. Early days. David Cook made a living as a software engineer in the oil industry. But when that started going downhill, his wife Sandy suggested getting into the video rental game. The Cooks bought the Dallas Video Works franchise, then left to create Blockbuster Video Incorporated. The first store opened on October 19, 1985 in Dallas, Texas. From the outset, Cook wanted his store to be different. Unlike the mom-and-pop shops, Blockbuster had a massive inventory, starting with 8,000 VHS tapes and 2,000 beta tapes.
And then Blockbuster came along. And then it was like, it's not just like a little closet with a couple videos. It became this world of videos.
And the store actually put the tapes on shelves instead of using display cases and keeping inventory in the back. Another thing that made Blockbuster stand out was its bright blue and yellow color scheme throughout the store. They kept it mainstream and family-friendly, refusing to rent any adult films.
You get a call or a person in a week looking, and there would be people you wouldn't, I'm not like thinking like people in like a trench coat and a hat. These are like suburban dads, like looking for like, where's the cheerleader movies? Like, yeah, we don't got that, buddy.
But perhaps the most revolutionary aspect was Cook's database expertise, which allowed him to use barcodes and keep track of inventory digitally. David Cook left his company in 1987, giving control to Waste Management co-founder Wayne Huizenga and John Milk, who rapidly expanded the company.
Blockbuster had 20 stores, and that caught the attention of garbage man Wayne Huizenga. Well, less a garbage man and more the CEO of Waste Management, the largest garbage company in the country.
Huizenga began buying out smaller rental stores and converting them into Blockbusters.
Like, I remember walking into the Pacific Video when the sign was in the door saying, starting next week, this Pacific Video will become a Blockbuster.
At one point, there was reportedly a new store opening every day. By 1988, Blockbuster had 400 locations in the US. And soon after, the company went international and bought out Ritz stores in the UK. Height of popularity. With Huizenga's guidance, Blockbuster became a multi-billion-dollar company and the #1 video rental retailer. And in addition to thousands of movies and television series, Blockbuster also rented video games and gaming consoles.
Life is a challenge, not a game.
Well, now it's both at Blockbuster Video, where the challenge never ends.
Blockbuster nights were weekly occurrences for many people, especially when it came to slumber parties and family bonding, or just any Friday and Saturday night. Blockbuster commercials were everywhere, and some of the best were in the 1990s and early aughts.
Right, look at this. Wall-to-wall entertainment. You want entertainment, Carl? I'll give you entertainment. Look, Carl, I'm a maniac! Maniac! No argument here. Let's see their entertainment do this. Whoa!
In late 1998, early 1999, Blockbuster rolled out its rewards program, offering free rentals and giving customers even more of a reason to come back on a regular basis.
For every 5 paid new release movies or games you rent in 1 month, you get 1 movie or game free.
After Time Warner announced its plan to upgrade their cable system in 1991, Blockbuster shares dropped 10%. Huizenga was sure that new advances in technology were a threat to the brick-and-mortar stores, so he decided to get out and sell Blockbuster to Viacom for a whopping $8.4 billion in 1994.
We really almost, I say almost, needed the enormous cash flow to service the debt. So strategically, it made a lot of sense, and also we thought Blockbuster was a good business.
Which the cable company needed to finance their bid for Paramount. Around this time, Blockbuster also explored other ventures like a massive Florida amusement park and what were essentially arcades for adults called Block Party. And from 1995 to 2001, Blockbuster even put on its own annual entertainment award ceremony.
To celebrate movies and stars loved by most people, but who were often left out of the fancy-pantsy Oscars.
By 2004, Blockbuster was at its peak, boasting 9,000 stores around the world. They'd opened Game Rush, in-store editions for video game and DVD trading. Emerging technologies. Former president of Taco Bell, John Antioco, became CEO of BlockBuster in June 1997.
Sumner Redstone was hoping Antioco could pour some of his famous hot sauce onto the BlockBuster brand.
Warner Brothers offered BlockBuster an exclusive deal. Like their established deal for VHS, stores would get new release DVDs before they went on sale. But Antioco turned it down. Instead, WB gave the deal to Walmart, which sold the DVDs at a low price. BlockBuster couldn't compete with those prices. Later that summer, Mark Randolph and Reed Hastings founded Netflix.
Make a list of the movies you want to see, and in about one business day, you'll get 3 DVDs. Keep them as long as you want, without late fees. Then when you're done, look, prepaid envelopes.
Which began as a DVD by mail rental service. It's been said that the inspiration for the company was a $40 late fee Hastings acquired from Apollo 13. In 2000, BlockBuster made one of its biggest mistakes. Hastings approached the company and offered to sell Netflix for $50 million.
John had an opportunity to acquire Netflix.
Was that possible?
Yes, in 2000. Well, I don't. It's back in those days. Yeah, it was possible.
His words is they laughed him out of the room.
Antioco rejected the idea, not ready to enter the online rental space just yet. In hindsight, this seems like an insane decision. However, at that time, BlockBuster was doing very well, and Netflix was still the new kid on the block.
Oh man, hey BlockBuster, you blew it.
4 years later, Antioco saw the potential in an online market and launched BlockBuster Online. With a bigger selection of titles and a lower subscription price than Netflix, the company was highly successful at first. BlockBuster sweetened the deal in 2007 with Total Access, which let customers exchange their online rentals in-store for a free rental. Despite its massive success, the company lost money from the slew of free rentals. By the mid-2000s, BlockBuster's biggest competitors grew, with the emergence of Redbox, Hulu, and Amazon Prime Video. And in 2007, Netflix got into streaming, and the rest is history. Well, not quite. There's more.
Most people think BlockBuster went out of business because of Netflix, but that's not the truth.
BlockBuster's downfall. Remember how awesome it was when BlockBuster got rid of late fees? Well, it may have been cool for us, but the company took a major hit. Late fees made up for $800 million of BlockBuster's revenue in 2000.
No more late fees! No more late fees! No more late fees!
And with customers keeping rentals for much longer, stores were often out of stock. Plus, franchise stores did not have to adhere to the policy. So customers found it confusing that some places had late fees and others didn't. This actually led to lawsuits for false advertising, losing BlockBuster even more money.
They lost over $250 million in sales overnight.
The cash flow of the business was really cut in a third, basically.
Major shareholder Carl Icahn wasn't thrilled with all the big spending on online endeavors or with Antioco's large salary. By July 2007, former 7-Eleven CEO James Keyes took over for Antioco.
Ford then hired Jim Keyes away from 7-Eleven, where he had recently turned that company around by offering free Slurpees on July 11th.
Keyes made several bad decisions from the get-go, raising prices for Total Access and getting rid of in-store exchanges. Keyes was also vocal in the media regarding his feelings about Netflix, saying he's, quote, confused by this fascination that everybody has with the company. The year 2010 was not good for BlockBuster. In March, they tried a new thing called additional daily rates, but like the no late fees, it just didn't work. That same month, they issued a bankruptcy warning. And by September, they'd filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy with $900 million in debt.
BlockBuster Video on Thursday filed for bankruptcy protection. Well, BlockBuster, seems our 8-year tug of war over Tango and Cash has reached its conclusion.
In July, they were delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. In April 2011, Dish Network bought BlockBuster for $320 million and announced later that year it would launch a BlockBuster Movie Pass, but it was only for Dish customers. BlockBuster tried to stay in the game with services like Blockbuster Express kiosks and a 28-day exclusive deal for titles from certain movie studios. But by early 2014, the remaining 300 corporate stores were closed, and online services were no more. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Legacy and nostalgia in the media. The last remaining franchise-owned Blockbusters in Alaska closed in 2018, leaving one store left in America. In 2020, the Bend, Oregon store and its longtime manager Sandy Harding were the subject of the nostalgia-fueled documentary The Last Blockbuster. Since then, more and more customers have made special trips just to visit the store and experience the good old days.
It just reminds me of when my kids were little. We just love coming in here.
During the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, the store turned into an Airbnb where guests could have a 90s-themed sleepover.
We're going to have pizza, we'll have candy, you're going to have popcorn. We have a little closet set up in the corner with all kinds of 90s clothing in it.
Ironically, Netflix began streaming The Last Blockbuster, and the streaming service has greenlit an original comedy series about employees working at The Last Blockbuster. Even after decades of new technology and an abundance of streaming options, the love for Blockbuster is still going strong.
So will there be a happily ever after for this last Blockbuster on Earth?
I would love to say we're going to be here forever, but sadly, I think that there probably will be, a last day at some point.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.